Hey ladies, welcome back to the Social Media for Mompreneurs podcast. If you're struggling with getting that first client or the next, this episode is for you. My guest and friend, Jill Celeste, is back on the show. She is an Amazon best-selling author and she's the founder of the Celestial University. You're going to love her because here's what she does. She teaches female entrepreneurs how to get louder with their marketing so they can attract more clients and live more fulfilling lives. I bet that's what you want. Also, just a quick reminder, my Instagram Growth Bootcamp kicks off in a few days, March 5th. Are you ready to get the growth you've been wanting for so long now? This is an 8-week group coaching program for women who are ready to clarify and build their brand on Instagram. But we're going to do it with simplicity and control. Instagram is no longer going to suck your soul. You will become the content creation workflow queen, so you always know what to post and when. You'll finally get your Instagram account as an attraction machine, so your ideal clients can actually find you. You'll become a video ninja, so you can grow your following naturally and connect with people on the daily. And you'll finally break through mindset blocks, so you can take control over your time spent on Instagram. DM me on Instagram for the details, or there's a link in today's show notes. All right, grab your drink of choice, no judgment here, and let's dive in. Hey there, Mom Boss. Welcome to the Social Media for Mompreneurs podcast, where we dive into Instagram, personal branding, marketing hacks, and content creation strategies, all while balancing family life. And don't forget, we do it the fun and easy way. I'm Allison Scholes, once a corporate marketing coordinator, a teacher, and now podcaster and coach. And yes, I'm that boss lady in sweatpants. Go ahead and hand out the kids' tablets, open those juice boxes, grab your coffee or wine, and hide in your closet. Let's get this party started. Hi, Jill. Welcome back.
Hi, Allison. So great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you back. You are a return guest, but it's been a while. So let's do a
Yes.
little bit of a refresher. Tell our listeners what you do and what you're so passionate about.
Well, I am passionate about teaching women how to get louder in their businesses and in their lives. And what I mean by that, especially for entrepreneurs, is how to market their businesses, share their gifts, attract their ideal clients, and make more money. And I do that through Celestial University, which is an online virtual campus for women entrepreneurs.
And tell us a little bit more about the university that you have.
So I started the university, gosh, it's been almost a year. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And really what it is I try to replicate the collegiate experience that I had, minus all the parties, but having different buildings for different activities. So students who actually are members of the university go into a university setting, and it looks like a campus map. And each building has a different thing there to help them with their businesses. So we have classes, we have study hall, we have a student lounge, we have a bookstore, and soon we'll have a spiritual center. And then later down the road, we'll have a place for health and wellness. And the idea is to be mind, soul, body care for female entrepreneurs so they can go out and conquer the world.
That is so cool. And I think it's
Thank
so
you.
unique. I have never heard of an online membership like yours. So unique. And I'm sure it's so successful. And I actually know some other women that are actually in your university, which is so cool. Now, we're talking today. You mentioned earlier about getting those clients, right? We
Yeah.
all want to work with clients. We want to get that first client. And back in 2016, you wrote a book, That First Client. But recently you re-released your book. So why did you do a re-release?
So the first time I published that book, it was the epitome of imperfect action. I was challenged by my business mentor at the time to write a book in 90 days, which at first I was, all right, I'll do it. And I started writing it. And then my father passed away. And I decided, oh, I can't do this. I'm mourning, blah, blah, blah. And I could hear his voice in my head going, finish the book, Jill, finish the book. So I did it quite imperfectly. I self published it. I got it out there. And then when I began writing Loud Woman, which is my book coming out later this year, my editor said, Jill, you really should do a second edition on that first client. That way you have a stronger book for the backlist, the list of other books that people can purchase from. It's been 4 years, you have new content you can add. Let's just spruce it up. And I said, okay. So that's what we did. We spruced it up. We added more content. We changed the cover, made it longer, a little bit longer, and still dedicated it to my dad, of course.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, speaking of
Yeah.
content, let's talk a little bit about the content of this book. Tell us what we can find in That First Client and who should read this.
So anyone who needs clients should read this book. I know it says that first client. And for those people who may have had clients before, you remember how big of a deal it was to get that first client. So yes, if you've never had clients before, for sure this book is good for you. But if you already have clients but want more, this is also the book to read because they teach you how to create an efficient and reliable marketing system so that you're always attracting clients. You know how sometimes we get in that feast and famine mode where
Yeah.
they're like, where are the clients? I can't find them anywhere. This book will teach you to create a system so that you're constantly attracting clients. So you're never wondering where the next client is going to come from because you have the system in place to be attracting them every day you're doing marketing.
And what I love about this book, because I can attest to what Jill is telling you, she is hands down, she's a genius at this, genius at marketing. But I went through this book and I can tell you that there's no fluff. There's a lot of books out there that will preach the why. They don't give you the how. And your book
Mm.
is filled with all these strategies and actionable steps to not only get that first client, but to continue to grow and get more clients, over and over. Now, in your book, you mentioned that all entrepreneurs are the directors of marketing for their business. What do you mean by that?
So often we start a business because we have a trade or a profession that we're good at. So health coaches are good at health coaching, right? But often we don't learn about the marketing parts of our business. And we get so preoccupied about our trade or our gifts that we put that hat on and that's all we try to do. Well, that doesn't get you clients. Marketing gets you clients. So if we remember that we're the director of marketing for a business, that we need to market every day, that we need to study marketing and analyze marketing and making sure we're making the best marketing decisions, then we will get those clients so that we can share our gifts. It's a mindset pivot because we have so many hands and so many pots, right? Especially as mompreneurs, solopreneurs, we're in charge of accounting, we're in charge of making sure websites are up, all these different things. But if you remember above all of that, when you put that hat on, I'm the director of marketing, it really helps you make the best decisions on what to work on that day. Because if you need clients, you got to market.
I love that. And I would think you would agree with being the director of marketing. You have to remember that even though you're putting your stuff out there, you have to remember to ask for the sale. Like I am guilty of that.
Yes.
I forget to do that. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's not doing so well right now. And then I look back at my marketing and what I'm putting out there because I'm an Enneagram number 2. So I'm such a giver. And
Hmm.
I just give like crazy. And I love doing that. But at the end of the day, it's like, wait a minute, this is my business and I need to remember to ask for that sale. So that's just like a part of that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, Brene Brown says clear is kind. And when you can make clear calls to action, that is a kindness to our prospective clients because they're like, oh, I should buy that
Oh, I love
because we asked
that.
them to. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you another question. Why is it important for new entrepreneurs to only go after their ideal clients instead of any client that wants to pay for their services?
Yeah. So it's so attractive just to say, oh, I want a client. I gotta take any client. And I took any client at the beginning.
Been there, done
I was
that.
like, you gonna pay me money? Yeah, you don't pay me money, I'll help you. But what happens is you end up, and it's not in a malicious thing, but you end up working with someone who undervalues you and also underpays you, because you're not a good match for them. I believe that when we work with a client, we are intended to work with that person. We cannot be the healer to everyone. So when we take on a client that is not ideal, we're doing that from a place of scarcity, right? Because we feel
Mhm.
like, oh, if I don't take this client, I'll never make money. It is very hard, but it's very necessary to come from a place of abundance. This is not the right client for me. Let me refer her out to somebody else, whatever, you need to do. But saying no in those situations, as hard as it is the best thing for your mindset because there's nothing worse, and I'm going to cuss, there's nothing worse than working with a shitty client. and a shitty client does not help you get more clients. So let's only focus on those people that you are meant to serve and be okay with that niche.
And don't you think if you take any client, you're coming from a space of just using so much energy, and if you keep doing that, you're not going to have that fulfillment or that purpose or that
Right.
drive anymore to continue to get more clients. So I agree with you.
Right.
You got to stay in that
Yeah.
niche.
Yeah. It's a mindset killer, right?
Yeah,
You wouldn't go to a cardiologist if you were pain in your foot. Right? We
right.
go to specialists to help us. Their ideal client is someone with a heart problem or someone with a cardiovascular problem. They're not going to want to see someone with a foot problem. They'll be like,
Right.
there's a podiatrist down the street. There's a reason for that. And that we need to remember that as well. You will get your first ideal client or your next ideal client. And you will, because your marketing will have the right messages in there that will attract those ideal clients to you.
Yes, and your book is going to help them get there, right?
Amen.
Now, Jill, what is something you wish you would have known sooner in your business? I think I might know your answer, but go ahead.
Oh, let me see if I can come up with something different. Well, I already mentioned the ideal client piece, making sure you deal with only your ideal clients. But I would also add pricing.
Hmm.
My first coaching package was $150, and you got 3 hours of coaching with me. So that's $50 an hour.
Wow.
Um, yeah, that was a great deal.
It sure is.
You couldn't get me now for that, that's for sure. Um, and I was excited, yay, money in. But that excitement was extraordinarily short-lived because I began to dread the calls because it was taking up a lot of my time and my energy. And the reason why is A, I was not working with an ideal client, but two, I wasn't pricing what the value was, what the results were that client was receiving from me. I always hope to deliver priceless and timeless results, right? I want them to walk away with that permanent marketing knowledge. And that's an investment. And you should be willing, if you can, to pay for someone for that expertise. And so by slashing my prices down so low in an effort to attract people, I was making myself feel like poop.
Yeah.
So hand in hand, yes, the ideal client, but also make sure your pricing value it reflects what you value, what your worth is, what the results are that you give your clients, because they will pay you if they can get those results.
Yeah. And don't you
Now, what
think,
did you think I was going to say? I'm curious.
you know what? I thought you were going to go the route of you wish you were louder and stood your ground.
Yeah, well, that's part of that, isn't it? By
Yeah.
knowing your worth and knowing who you're supposed to work with, that's absolutely part of being loud. So yeah, you're right.
And I want to point out too to our listeners, if you're kind of listening and you're thinking about your pricing and you got that gut feeling that it's too low, that's okay, because I think all of us
Oh yeah,
undervalue ourselves because we are anxious and excited to get those first couple of clients. And you know what? You just kind of go through it and you learn it. But like
it's
you
part
said
of the growing
earlier,
pains.
you have to take that imperfect action. I don't know
Yep,
how many times
yep.
I've priced things wrong, right? But
Me
you
too.
learn.
That's how you learn. That's how you learn.
Now, before
Absolutely.
we wrap up, I do have one question for you. This is either going to be a super easy answer or it might actually be a little hard for you. I don't know. What's your favorite book? Coming from the
Oh
woman who is
boy.
such an avid reader. I know, right?
Now look
What's
at
your
my
favorite
bookshelf.
book?
Oh my goodness. Well, I will answer with two, if that's okay with you. I'll answer
Okay.
fiction and nonfiction.
Oh,
So
cool.
my favorite fiction book is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak.
Oh.
Have you read that yet at any
No, and I'm
time?
going to
No?
write it down because I'm very into fiction books right now. So it's The Book Thief.
Oh, okay. The Book Thief, and it's set in World War II, Germany in World War II, and it's about a young girl who loves to read. And if you might remember from history, Germany did a great job burning books
Mm-hmm.
during that time. And so she was hungry for books, but it also had some other storylines in there. It's a great movie too, if you choose just to watch it. It's another good movie. So there's that one. And my favorite nonfiction book is Playing Big by Tara Moore. Playing Big is a great book for any woman to read, and it really explains why we don't play a bigger game. It really analyzes the societal conditioning, but also how we're wired as women, and not to become men, we don't want that, but how to
Mm-hmm.
tap into our good stuff to really bring more to the table. And it's a very easy to read book. It's not, academic or anything like that. She has some great stories in there. It's a book I always recommend to female entrepreneurs. Make sure you read Playing Big. So that would be
Okay.
my selection.
All right. I will be adding both of those to my selection because I think I put out earlier in the year that my goal was to read at least one book a month, and you'll be proud of me. I have
Perfect.
4 down already, Jill. 4 down. So I know I'll be
Congratulations.
adding those 2 to my list. Okay. All right. So where can we connect with you on social and where can we buy your book?
So the best place to remember is my name. So I have a website, jillceleste.com, that lists where you can buy my book. You can get it from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple Books, all the different e-reading devices, all available through there. And I'm on social media as Jill Celeste. So Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Clubhouse, you name it. Just search for Jill Celeste and you'll find me.
Awesome. I really love this conversation. I just love chatting with you,
Thank
Jill. You're just so easy to talk to.
thank you so much. Great questions. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you loved today's episode, then please head over to iTunes, social media for mompreneurs, and leave a review. Your review helps grow the show. And don't forget, head to bossladyandsweatpants.com to grab all my freebies and hang out with me on Instagram at Allison Scholes. I'll see you soon.